Hey guys, this is Jason. I'm reviewing Holland, directed by Mimi Cave and stars Nicole Kidman as a mother in Holland, Michigan in the 2000s. Nicole Kidman has a family that can be tough but loving when she finds out that her husband, played by Matthew Macfaden, is hiding something suspicious from her, and both her and her colleague, played by Gale Garcia Bernal, have to work together to figure out what he's doing. It's directed by Mimi Cave, who last did the Hulu movie Fresh, which is a very overlooked film, and I do recommend watching that film if you haven't yet. It's a really good horror movie, and this is one of the reasons why I decided to watch this film on Amazon, because of my love for Fresh. But now that I have seen this film, unfortunately, it's not as good as Fresh. Mostly when you have characters like Nicole Kidman and Gail Garcia Bernal making terrible decisions throughout the film, where it makes you wonder, like, why are we following these characters in this story? Because Nicole Kidman thinks that her husband is having an affair, and that idea becomes the main plot point for the first hour and 14 minutes of the film before the real reveal happens, which is kind of strange because most of this film is really a romantic comedy where Kidman is working with Garcia Bernal to learn more about her husband, and she's starting to grow some feelings for Garcia Bernal, but she hasn't found any proof that her husband may be cheating on her, but she starts to have feelings for this guy anyway, which, why would she have that before she would find evidence? Like, she literally breaks into her own husband's office with Gail Garcia Bernal helping her, getting him involved in this terrible thing that she's doing, making me wonder, like, why am I supposed to root for her? I mean, Nicole Kidman was fine in the film, it's just her character that was the problem, because her character is a complete idiot. And before she finds proof, she actually decides to have an affair with Garcia Bernal herself. Like, how am I supposed to like this character when she's making horrible decisions? And that is unfortunately a lot of this film's runtime, where she thinks that he's having an affair, or so she thinks, before the main twist happens in the third act. Because when we find out what the husband is really doing, it felt like the plot was finally kicking in. It felt like the movie was finally starting after that reveal happened. But for some reason, it wasn't the main focus throughout the entire film. It was just a twist that happens in the third act. And there really isn't a lot of moments in this film before that felt like they came out of a thriller or horror movie, except for a couple of scenes where Nicole Kidman is having these dream sequences that are supposed to be creepy, but most of the dream sequences here don't feel like they belong in the story. They feel like they're just there to make us think, hey, this movie is still a thriller, you still gotta know that. Even though most of this film doesn't feel like a horror, we still have some horror moments that happen before the main twist happens. Like, it's that kind of lazy thing they decided to throw in to make us think that this movie is a thriller when most of it really isn't, which really messes up the tone, making you wonder, like, what is this movie trying to be? Is it trying to be a romantic comedy, or is it trying to be a horror? Because obviously this movie can't be both, because they really don't give you an idea of what this movie is trying to be. It just gets you confused on what kind of genre this is. And to be honest, when it focuses on the romantic stuff, it can be pretty boring and underdeveloped, where you don't really see much of a connection between Kidman or Garcia Bernal. We just learn that they're both colleagues in the school that they work at, they have lunch breaks together, and she decides to have him involved because she kind of has a connection with him, and that's it. You don't really get much about what their relationship blossoms, and you don't really buy into their chemistry at all because of that, or with Gail Garcia Bernal's acting, who unfortunately is not very good in this film, and I do think he's a good actor, but his performance here just didn't work for me. Now, when we get to the third act, it does finally feel like a thriller where you do have some dark and brutal moments, and some of those are suspenseful. But since most of this film is just a romantic comedy, the thriller stuff just feels out of left field. And when we get to that twist in the third act, it does create some dark moments where you look back on the film and see some of the little things this movie hinted at. It does give you a dark idea, but unfortunately it doesn't do much for the rest of the film, because most of this film is just about Kidman thinking that her husband is having an affair, and that's most of this film, making us feel like like that there are two different movies happening at the same time. As for redeeming qualities, there really aren't much. Like, Nicole Kidman is fine in the film. I do think she's a fantastic actress in movies like The Others, which is a really good horror movie, and she does the best with what she can here, and some of the sets and the lighting are good. They do capture the feeling of being in the 2000s, and do a good job at making you feel like you're in a little model set of Holland, Michigan. And unfortunately, that's where my positives end. Everything else about this film is just terrible. Honestly, this film was disappointing for me because it's made by someone that made a great horror film prior to this, and this one just didn't work. And it stars three talented actors that thought it would be good for them to be in this film, which I'm pretty sure that three of these actors wanted to be in this film just for a paycheck. I'm gonna give Holland a D+. So guys, if you have seen Holland on Amazon Prime, what did you think about it? Do you think it's a great horror film, or do you think that this film is terrible? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.